Part 1, Section 4, the essential difference between free labor and slave labor that Marxism Socialism ignores. Meanwhile, it is of the utmost importance to point out that in describing the wage earners of capitalism as slaves, the Marxist socialists omit an essential difference. A slave is kept at his work by means of physical force, e.g., chains, whips, and guns. In sharpest contrast, the free worker of capitalism, especially one who would otherwise starve to death if he did not have a job, is not kept at his work by means of force. On the contrary, it would take force to keep him from his work. The wages that a capitalist employer offers are a positive that enable the worker to live and which he is prepared to make every effort to earn. The capitalist employer stands in service to the worker's life. In contrast, the beating that a slave owner offers is a negative that impairs the worker's life. In strict Marxist socialist fashion, John Kenneth Galbraith, a prominent writer of the last century, who was widely applauded in his time, attempts to obliterate this distinction and thus justify the description of wage earners under capitalism as slaves. He writes, quote, "The worker in a Calcutta jute mill who loses his job, like his American counterpart during the Great Depression, has no high prospect of ever finding another. He has no savings, nor does he have unemployment insurance. The alternative to his present employment, accordingly, is slow but definite starvation. So though nominally a free worker, he is compelled. The fate of a defecting Southern slave before the Civil War, or a serf before Alexander II, was not appreciably more painful. The choice between hunger and flogging may well be a matter of taste." I quote Galbraith's concluding sentence again, quote, "The choice between hunger and flogging may well be a matter of taste," unquote. Thus, according to Galbraith, pain is pain, irrespective of whether it is caused by the lack of food or by a flogging, and it makes no difference whether there is a capitalist whose payment of wages prevents the pain of hunger, or a slave owner whose whip imposes the pain of a flogging. Pain, capitalist, slave owner, it's all the same. The conclusion to be drawn from Galbraith's and all similar such passages by countless other writers is that the capitalists are the same as slave owners and deserve to be shot. What is this if not a mentality of the stupid and vicious, of morons and murderers? A mentality that sees no difference between the use of physical force to make someone work and a need for physical force to stop someone from working. A mentality that treats as the same two cases in which a worker works to avoid pain, neglecting that in the one case the pain is caused by a master and in the other caused by nature and prevented by a capitalist. A mentality, in other words, that sees no difference between slavery and freedom and thus can claim justification for Marxist socialists robbing and murdering capitalists on the grounds that the free workers of the capitalists are their slaves. This is how the Marxist socialists attempt to put over their Orwellian claim that freedom is slavery. Given the profoundly evil nature of the claim, which simultaneously devalues freedom and makes slavery appear as no worse than freedom, this gross error could also be classified as a major manifestation of sociopathy on the part of Marxism Socialism.